Hey guys, my name is Seth, and this is the start of my BookTube channel. I really don't even know my book channel is going to be called yet, but this is more just for myself to look back on and talk about all the books that I've read. I'm starting it for 2024. I'm going to go over all the books I've read this year, and then I'll continue to read. Right now we're in the middle of June while I'm recording this. So we're kind of going back a few months on some of the books I've read. I just thought it'd be kind of fun, just to post this and go back and look at it, at the end of the year at all the books I've reviewed. So, with that said, let's just get right into it. The very first book I want to review, I actually finished at the end of 2023, but I read the sequel to this book to start off the year, so that's why I figured I would start first, and that's Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So this book really was a fantastic book. It kind of got me back into reading. It's actually the third time I've read this book. I just really like science fiction, and the Children of Time, I'm going to kind of do like a non-spoiler kind of covering the book, and then we'll talk about spoilers at the end. So Children of Time is basically like an evolutionary science fiction. It's kind of about like a race of these sentient spiders, how they get smarter and develop over time into a society. That's basically the main pitch of this book, and it's really clever how Tchaikovsky really writes this book. It really seems plausible the way he writes it. Almost seems like it is something that could happen, in the far-flung future, and that's what I really love about science fiction, is it almost seems like it could happen, and it just goes on a great story. It's definitely heavy on plot and theme, because generally, we'll get into it, there's certain characters you do follow throughout it, but even like from this book to the next book, there's like time gaps, and it's not the same characters from one book to the next. So that's one thing that's really interesting. I'll just say, if you love sci-fi and you like hard science fiction that has a lot of thought into how things could plausibly be, with a lot of science, it's a very good book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I probably gave a lot of books 5 out of 5s on my list as we go through my story graph, as I kind of get caught up on these reviews. But yeah, Children of Time, that's kind of the end of the non-spoiler section. I just say it's fantastic. 5 out of 5. Just go read it. It's probably some of the best science fiction that I've read, in my life. It's definitely up there in the top 10 for sure. Now, as far as spoilers, this whole book, it kind of talks about the story. There's two different stories that are told. It's all about the story of the spiders, or the portids, that were created by this Dr. Kern, who basically she makes this serum that like messes with the DNA, and it's like 3,000 years in the future or something like that, where humans have went across the entire galaxy. But of course, humans being humans, there's always going to be conflict, and they're fighting each other and everything like that. But she ends up seeding, they make like a new Eden. It's a world filled with Earth life, pretty much with everything except humans. And her idea was she was gonna infect monkeys with this serum, and they were gonna evolve into humans and then join humanity, and she was gonna be their god. Now everything kind of goes to heck with that plan, because there's a huge war that breaks out amongst the humans, and she ends up her research station ends up getting sabotaged, and there's an entire war that pretty much wipes out all humans. But she kind of survives going to like cryogenic sleep, and the serum gets released on the world. I forget what the world is actually called. But either way, it ends up getting infected into all the life there, but mainly the insects. So the spiders and the ants, and that whole story is all about how the humblest spiders, these jumping spiders that they all refer to as Portias, as you see them over the generations. Like each chapter is usually a different generation of Portia spiders, and it jumps thousands and thousands, hundreds and hundreds of years between all these different generations as they get more advanced and they get technology. And they come to know more about themselves. And this whole time, we're talking spoilers. This whole time, Kern is orbiting the planet in her cryogenic sleep, basically. And she has like an AI running things that's reaching out to them. And they end up like being able to communicate with Kern, the spiders do, and she's like becomes their god, and she doesn't know that it's ended up infecting spiders this whole time. She figures she's talking to these chimps that have advanced, and it's really quite interesting to see their growth, and because their entire culture and society is based upon what you would think sentient spiders would be like. It's very inhuman. And it really makes you think about it, like if you had sentient spiders, what would that look like? What would that society look like? Which is really interesting. And then your whole B plot, the entire book, is you're following this gentleman called Holston. And what happened is after the whole human war, Holston and the other humans, they were basically the survivors on Earth. Basically, it was like a big EMP that wiped out the entire human race and a computer virus. So everybody's all dead, except for the humans on Earth that barely survived. They got kicked back to the Stone Age, basically, and they had to re-evolve themselves. Now, Earth was still dying due to all the wars and nuclear fallout and everything, and they basically escaped on an Ark ship, a generational ship, fleeing Earth and trying to find a new home, a suitable home for themselves. And this generational ship, it's taken thousands and thousands of years to travel across the galaxy to get to these different places, and they end up going here. I think the planet's called New Eden. I kind of forget, but basically the humans end up going to New Eden, and Kern ends up scaring them off for a while. They end up going to another planet, and it's a whole thing. That part really isn't too important, but they end up coming back to the planet. But the interesting thing is Holston, they keep he's a like a historian. He was studying Earth human culture before the fall, so he's the only one that can even speak this language that Kern and all the humans before the war even spoke, because the modern humans don't speak the same language, and he's the only one that kind of understands the old Earth technology and all that. And so over the time, he keeps getting awoken for different reasons to solve the crisis that the humans are facing, to interact with some different people. There's a engineer that he constantly is a part of, that he gets to know. What was her name? I kind of forget her name. Either way, that's not super important. But yeah, it's interesting because as the spiders are evolving, the humans aboard the Generation ship are also evolving, because most of them are in cryogenic sleep, but something happens that some of them end up not being able to. They have to be unfrozen, basically, and they are living amongst the ship. And over thousands and thousands of years, and generation, the human species is changing. And meanwhile, a lot of the people are still in the cryogenic chambers, and it's just really interesting to see how people that are isolated and they have no connection to where they came from, like how they can live and die an entire existence without even like really knowing what it is to be human. Like, especially by the end, you get these people that are just entirely engineers trying to keep the ship running because they're running out of time. The ship, even though it was built well, it's just getting old, and there's only so much they can do. So it's a desperate race against time for these humans to find a place to live. And in the end, you know, it seems like it's all building to this big climax. There's gonna be this big war between, you know, the spiders and the humans as they're trying to come back to make a last-ditch effort to basically attack the spiders' planet, because it's the only habitable planet they found during the whole story. And the spiders, the spiders are able to, I don't want to spoil like too much of it, but they basically make the humans understand that they are sentient in a way, and they basically show the humans in a really cool twist at the end, you know, that they're one and the same, and it leaves on a great high note. Like, if you even just, I don't think it's 100% necessary to even read the second or third book. I still haven't read the third book. I've read the second book. The second book's good, and we'll get into that as I get into my other reviews. But like, this is a great just standalone book. You could read just this book and be perfectly happy. It leaves, it pretty much wraps up everything in a tidy bow. A very satisfying ending. And this was a great book to kind of get me back in reading here in 2024. And I got a lot of books to catch up on that I want to kind of do these little videos of. You know, it's kind of informal kind of thing. I don't really expect anybody to watch this, but just thought it'd be cool for myself to look back on. But yeah, that's my review of Children of Time. 5 out of 5. Go read it. Have a great day.